being divorced is all of a sudden it puts you in a camp of, I'm now a statistic. Love will conquer all, right? And not realizing that there was much more to it than just love conquering all. I was married before for 16 years, and through time I realized I was going to have to be divorced. And one of the interesting things about being divorced is all of a sudden it puts you in a camp of, I'm now a statistic. After being with somebody for 16 years, being alone was one of those things where I thought, I don't want to be alone necessarily for too long. I don't mind having to work on myself, but I don't want that to last forever. And I think one of the interesting things about divorce in our faith, and I think it's like this probably in other faiths, and that is that divorce, your hand is held all the way to the altar. There's a lot of support. There's a lot of, let's take this class, let's do this, and then there's the wedding, and everybody's kind of on your side cheering you on. And but then when it's time to be divorced, when you have to take that route, every divorce is so different. It's such crazy dynamics when it comes to divorces. I feel like I've seen so many examples of what happened, where and when, and so you're kind of on your own. And I also remember pulling out the For Strength of Youth pamphlet and saying, this is your life, you're back to this. And I realized, okay, well, we'll just get back to work. But when I went through my divorce, a lot of the issues were obviously financial, and it became a struggle. And when I realized I was going to date again, I think my timing was off. I think I might have been dating too soon after my first marriage. When I started dating, again, doing it off the cuff, just figuring it out, I went online and met somebody, and that became, because again, I felt like I was learning and was not really getting much support. I started making decisions that were ignorant, and in being able to date again. And so I dated a girl, got married really quick, and realized that this was what we call a rebound. So in my rebound relationship I was having, we went really fast and got married really quick. Now the thing to remember is that we're actually living 1,200 miles apart. So I was living in one state and she was living in another state. And to move to her state was a big challenge. The other challenge was I had no work. And so here I was without work and newly divorced, and I meet a girl in another state and I run off and marry her. So you can see the conundrum that's about to happen. And but we're in love, right? That's love will conquer all. And that was kind of the concept. So we moved in together, we made it work, and but it got really complicated. As I said, she was still, I think, in love with her ex-husband, and he kind of got involved a little bit, and so it became blending this family became very difficult. And so there became a point in which it was time that I left. She was obviously not happy with the way it was going, and I needed to leave. And so here I was in a town that I'd never lived in, far from family, work, or anything. And I'm thinking, I got to do something. So with all of the whirlwinds that I went through, I started to realize through all of this that I was going to have to be faithful to the Lord. I felt prompted to go ahead and start packing. So I started putting things together, being prepared to separate. I put all my stuff in a storage unit, and literally as I drove off, this amazing thing happened. Out of all these bad decisions I was making trying to make this relationship work, I got a call from a friend who said there's a company called Blendtec that's looking for a video producer. And I knew right at that moment that was my job. I knew that I had to have that job. But here I was in Dallas, Texas. My family is in Richmond, Virginia, and this job is in Utah. And I'm thinking I've got to do, so I literally drove from Dallas to Virginia, and I did a phone call interview with them, and they said, we like your credentials, but we need to meet you in person. So I drove all the way from Virginia all the way to Utah, where I'd already lived for 15 years beforehand. So I knew a million people that I could stay with. I ended up getting a hotel instead because I was kind of shamed. I was in the shame mode of, now I'm about to be divorced twice, and I have this, again, loser mark on me that I couldn't figure my life out. But boy, did I need this job. And I got this job, and it became the best job. And so this job almost became a dream job for me, and it was a blessing. And it definitely brought me back to Utah to allow me to start my life over after all these goof ups that I was making, in an effort to be able to set it up to where I could date again, but more on a healthy level.